Love you, sister.
I love you, bro.
Thank you.
So good to see you.
Thank you.
Yeah, very good to see you. Robert's show's got like 300,000 views now. He's getting shared and shared and shared and shared and shared. That I do with Robert.
Hello, everybody. All right, we are live here, there, and somewhere else. Lord help us. Oh God. So everybody, welcome to SpeakuP Monday here at Tropical Nomad every Monday, 7 p.m. ish, and we go to 8 p.m. ish. Now tonight we have a beautiful, incredible sister friend called Rhonda, who I'm going to introduce you to very soon. But a few little things about SpeakuP Monday if it's your first time listening or your first time watching live on either Instagram or Facebook or YouTube. There you go. So SpeakuP Monday is the name, and it started off around 72 weeks ago. 72 weeks ago, wow. Life in Bali, which was a great little cafe in Tamora Gallery, which me and my partner Marina had. And a great friend called Morten, a Norwegian, had a great idea and said, Rob, why don't you speakers here? Like, I was like, great idea, Morten. 2 weeks later, Morten was our first speaker, and that was 70 weeks ago, and we haven't missed a beat. We've been offline, online, and offline, and now we're kind of offline, online, but every week we do this. So it's a conversation between two friends or people that I love, right? That maybe I know them well, but I want to get to know them deeper, right? And this is a great access for you watching to be part of that conversation, even if it's by watching alone. So, final things. If you love this and you want to share it, feel free to share it to people. Also, if you'd like to be a guest, right? All you need to do is to touch base with me, and look, I'm sure we can work it out. The barriers to entry is self-selecting. So, in other words, if you feel like this is gelling with you and you feel like you want to do it, then that means that you should do it and reach out to me, and I'll find a way to get you on, because there's an inner calling that all of us have, but we need to respond to it, right? Don't let fear stop you. Just respond to that inner voice, that inner calling to do it, and we will do it, all right? Now, deep breath. Okay, so this week, my beautiful sister, Rhonda Swan. Now, for those of you who are wondering, I love your story, and we're going to get into that in a minute. And there's so many parallels with, a little bit with me, but with people that I know and people that I gel with and people that I vibe with. You've got all of these things going on in one body, which I love, no pressure. And so I'm going to get to that in a second. So Rhonda, we're going to get into it, but Rhonda is what I call like a branding genius. A branding genius. So for those of you wondering, who is Rhonda, I'm just going to say a branding genius. And then I'll let the rest unfold as it does, as it will, and you'll get to know her yourself as I know her and love her. All right? So for the studio audience, I am going to give you a bit of work to do, and that is make some noise for Rhonda Swan. All right? And if you want to come down and make some noise, we're here every Monday, 7 p.m. at Tropical Nomad. So come down and join us, guys. The audience is growing every week. Now I'm gonna move this one over here and try to get Rhonda. Are you in, darling?
Hi. Yeah.
Good. So cool. All right. You're in. So, darling Rhonda. So let's start off. So like, where were you born, and what was life like growing up as a kid?
Oh, okay. Well, thank you. First off, I'm the second member of my family that's been part of your show. In fact, my daughter was the first guest, of course, at Life in Bali. However, I'll take number two. I think you're going to have the unstoppable surfer knocking on your door pretty soon.
Come on, Brian. Come on.
Okay, so a little bit about me. I am a Detroit girl. I was born in Detroit. I can throw rap down, an 80s and 90s rap like the best of them. And I grew up with a Midwest family. My father was divorced my mom. My mom divorced him when I was 3. He was a really intense drug addict. And so I grew up being that young girl that, even at 3, took total responsibility. Like, I helped my mom, and then she remarried when I was 5, and my father, my stepdad, was a Detroit fireman. So I went from like complete chaos of a life with a drug addict father and like living in different places and just wild and crazy, to living in a very structured family life. Like, Detroit fireman, very structured, very intense. So I learned at a really young age how to not only survive, but also how to protect and to take care of my mother. And then I learned how to be in complete control because I was learned to be controlled. Now we can talk about that later. However, the control piece I thought was my like best defense mechanism. However, I've recently realized that it's not so amazing for a long-term future. And I'm 47, so I'm like, shit, control's got to go.
All right, we're digging to that. What makes you happy?
Oh, really good question. What makes me happy is seeing the smile on certainly my family's face, my daughter who's 13, really seeing her flourish and grow. However, what really makes me happy the most is knowing that I'm really making a difference in other people's lives. I love to inspire people. Like I feel that like part of my mojo and who I am is about energy and about like giving people so much gift and gratitude. Because the day I remember I was about 14 years old, and many people can relate to this. You have these big assemblies when you're in high school. We had this huge assembly, and I was late because I was a softball player and I was late. And I walked in late, and there's like 500 people in a gymnasium. And I stood there at the door, and I call it like now the stand and stare. And I was like, oh, I'm 14. I don't see any of my friends, and I felt really insecure. And I literally stood there and walked into the gym and sat in the very first row, and I knew no one. And I was like, here I was, the athlete, and I was, really outgoing, and everyone knew me. However, I realized that moment, I was so humbled in that moment that I didn't know anyone, and it made me go, wait a minute, I've never had this happen to me. How did other people feel? So to answer your question, that what makes me happy is to help others see in themselves, like who they really are. Because when that happened, I went, I will never let that happen to anyone. So someone will walk in the door, and I don't even know them, like, hey, what's up? Welcome. How you doing? How are you? Because I remember the humility and the horrible feeling that I had not being welcomed, right? And your happiness does come at a young age from how you're perceived and how you're accepted. Now I'm 47. I'm like, I'm just freaking happy because I just love myself and life is awesome. I could give a care less about what other people think about me, but I didn't feel that way for a long time. So that's what makes me happy.
Yeah, thank you. Everyone who watches every week kind of knows this, but I keep repeating it for those who haven't watched it. So what keeps coming up is this understanding of how we're brought up. Those formative years, that 0 to 7, that theta brainwave state, very impressionable, like a sponge, right? Yeah. And this, in many ways, we either go to, reinvent that and try to do the opposite, or we just follow it, right? And what I hear in your story, already, thanks for sharing, is that, as you said, from the age of 3, you were there, you were really controlling, you were looking after people. Because what I get from you, which everyone will get here already if they haven't, is this amazing, loving, motherly, all-embracing, all-encompassing energy, right? And it's beautiful to be a part of. It's beautiful to experience. It's beautiful to be on the receiving end of it, right? And it's like within 2 minutes, even less, it's like you're swept up in this fulcrum of energy, beautiful, warm energy, and you want to be there and you want more of it. So it's like it's attracting people to you. And again, hearing that, what happened to you, that I get part of where that's come from. So thank you so much for sharing that. And so how did you channel it? Because from what it sounds like, I mean, I was an athlete as well, but becoming an athlete, like, what was behind that? Why did you feel the need to become an athlete, if there is a feeling behind it?
Well, I had a couple choices, right? And I think all of us go through this in life. I could have either accepted that I've got a deadbeat style father, right, that went drugs. Yeah. And the thing is that he was also a professional athlete in baseball. And so there's good and bad to what you see as a young child, right? So here he's like this professional athlete in baseball, and he got drafted to the Blue Jays, I think. But because of his drug addiction, he lost it all. So I learned that really young, that I could either choose to accept and to be a victim and go, oh, this happened to me. My father's this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and I was sexually abused. I was this abused. I was this. However, instead, I went, what? I really remember being young going, this is not who I want to be. Why do I have to accept that? So why not instead say, I'm just going to be the best, I don't know if I can swear on this show, but effing athlete that I want to be, because I knew that I could control that space, right? So that's where the control comes from, because, and I was very motivated and driven. So I got a lot of that drive from my father. However, I then used my athleticism and that angle to be the best, right? And to not fall into that trap, because we can go both ways. Like, I was an addictive personality, just like my father. And I knew that at a very young age. Like, I was addicted, just doing this, like whatever I did, I was like in it hard. Like, there was no side angles. And so I realized that at an early age. And I think probably a lot of it's like when your family's, your mom's like, your dad's, a drug addict and this. And I was like, oh, that's horrible. Like, how could you choose that over your child? So I thought, well, addiction can come from everything. So instead of going the negative way, I went to the athleticism way. And I just, started playing softball at a very young age. But a lot of it had to do with, I wanted to be seen. I wanted to be accepted, because my family, my mother was amazing. However, she's remarried, but they didn't see like how much I worked, because they didn't do that kind of work. So people that don't do the work that you do, like put in the back end stuff, like the reading, the full on hard stuff, they don't always see what you do. Right. And so I was always attempting to be seen. And that's where like a lot of the control came from. So I'm like, well, if I can control this and impress you, then maybe you'll give me more love. And there's a lot of stuff that I don't usually talk about, because I'm such an entrepreneur. I'm such a hard ass, and I just go for it. And I never opened up those Pandora's box. However, I realized that as entrepreneurs, if we want to actually excel, we want to be bigger and better for others, we actually have to open the Pandora's box and go, there you are. I get that. So that's why you did that. Excellent. Well, now I'm going to leverage that even more, because I see it now. And that's what I really did. And, I played for the women's U.S. softball team. I was in the national team all the way up until we got accepted into Atlanta. And of course, then I was too old and I went and got my job, but my team went. And those are the moments that you go, okay, now I see why I did what I did. And then you're able to navigate and accept it. And then you can like leverage all these steps that you take.
Got it. Where does your compassion come from? Because I look in your eyes and I get compassion. I get love and I get compassion. Well, where did that come from?
That's a really good question. Being the type of female that I am, and I was always very driven, I didn't relate to other girls or females very well growing up until recently, because I was such a hard ass, right? I was like, there's no acceptance. You can't be less than this, because my stepdad was that way, which I loved, because he allowed me to see the opposite of lack of control. He saw full control. And I was like, hell yeah, I'm going there, because I saw what was going on the non-control side, right? And the addiction side. So I didn't really connect with women very well at all, actually, which was a challenge, right? And so what started to happen is a lot of, not just women, but men as well, it was like I was such a driving force that I would always had things said about me, or just wasn't fully supported all the time. And it's because I don't think I knew how to love other people. And I just wanted to win, or I wanted to be the best, because I was wanting love. So how can you give love if you don't know what love is? Right? So I couldn't connect with people. And your question is, how did I find the compassion? Is that I realized that in order for me to actually give back to the world and be successful and to literally have a family, you've got to learn how to actually connect with people and create compassion. So the only way that I knew how was to help other people and to see other people that didn't have what I had, because I knew no matter what I wanted, I'll get it. Whether I manifested my family's American Indian heritage, I was like, my great grandmother was a Cherokee Indian chief. She was a medicine woman. She's like, You can do this. You got this. All you have to do is think about it and make it happen. I was like, oh, that's easy. Like, I can do that. So it was so easy for me. Like, I just went hard and it was easy. However, what wasn't easy is connection. So the empathy and the compassion came from me realizing that although I'd done a lot of stuff, I wasn't connected to anyone. I had no connected soul. I look at people in the eye and I was just like, yeah, nice to meet you. Oh yeah, and I would just go. And it's like, why can't I just connect with that? Why can't I look at this person in the eyes? Like I'm looking you in the eyes and go, yeah, I see you. Like, wow, good to see you, you know? And I couldn't do that for so many years. So the compassion sign came from me realizing that I needed more in my life. And I was hollow. And in order to fill that cup, I needed to show others how much I cared. So I really had to work at it. And now it's like part of my whole, everything that I am, part of what I do for my company, what I do for my family is like literally caring so much about people that they can see in themselves who they are and that naturally my business explodes.
See, thank you. Thanks for sharing.
I think that's a long answer.
Yeah, no, but it's the answer. And I mean, you know, like that superpower of yours is that, you know, is what I feel anyway. And it's that love and compassion, understanding, right? And it like, it beams from you, you know? It's so beautiful, Rhonda. Really, it beams from you, honey, you know? And then, so then what I also see as well is that, you know, the not being able to communicate or find yourself in the same place as women. So, quick story. So, for the first 18 years of life, I grew up in 2 children's homes, as you know, from 6 months to 18 years. And for the first 14 years, I was the only black kid at school. Yeah. And, you know, I thought and believed in Caucasian standards on how I should look, how I should speak, how I should behave, and all the rest of that, even though at home was pejoratively black, at school was pejoratively white. And I was able to fall into that and become this chameleon, right? And it's funny, it's only when I failed some exams, I had to go back to college again. And it was the opposite. It was all black, right? It was the biggest culture shock of my life. Oh my God, black people, I can't trust them. It was like that. Right. You know, it was nuts. I'm like, whatever, you know. But it's interesting because, you know, the thing that you were fighting hard so much to not admit or see in yourself is now your superpower. Yeah. You know, and I love that. Yeah. You know, because that gives hope to people, right, who are in a position where they don't see it that way yet. Yeah. And you've obviously alluded to the fact that, you know, in all this process, you're learning how to love yourself, right? And as you're learning to love yourself, then you can learn to appreciate, accept, and honor and acknowledge others, you know? Yeah. Which is, again, it's like it beams from you like a heartbeat, like a pulse. Yeah. And and that frequency affects everyone. And I love that, right? Awesome. So then, so when did you get, or when did you feel the first breakthrough with women?
It's really recently, you know, in my 40s. I'm 47 years old. So I was like, you know, I've done really well. I've got friends, right? I had really close women friends. However, I just couldn't relate because I didn't understand. And this is the thing, you know, entrepreneurship, it's a masculine-driven environment, right? So here I am. I've got a master's degree. I crushed it. You know, I go and get my, you know, first job. I'm working for a Fortune 100 company, and then I get transferred to working for one of the largest companies in the world, which is pharmaceuticals. And don't judge me because I quit later because I realized what they did. However, I was running like $500 million advertising campaigns. Like I was a badass, right? But I was dealing with men. So I was like learning how to negotiate and do business and do this. No emotion in business, which I still don't add emotion really into business because I think it's a black and white thing, especially when you have great products and great services. It's so black and white. There's no emotion involved. And that's still who I am. However, I realized that I was so formed into and walking this masculine-driven world that I didn't even know how to relate to women because I didn't have time for it, right? And because there's certain, I think, agendas and certain forms of, you know, feminine and masculine energies and people and personalities, right? And I don't usually talk about this stuff very often because I just don't think I need to deal with it. However, more recently, I'm like, you know, like there is such a power in powerful women that can also be feminine. So I'm like a bulldozer, right? And I've been known for that. Like Rhonda she just bulldozes through things. I'm like, but gosh, you know, you kind of you need and deserve to relate to other women, because there's other unbelievable women that I was starting to become enamored by, going, how is she so powerful in business, yet she's so still very feminine who she is, right? And when I had my daughter, I realized like, oh my gosh, I can't be this hard ass and, you know, like bulldozer when I have a 13-year-old. Well, now she's 13, but I have a new baby girl. I need to show her who and what women can be like, because I wasn't taught that. So when Hanalei was born, I think that's when I really started to go, okay, you know, you can be like such a savvy woman in business and still have a feminine side. Like you can still drive a you know, 7+ figure business and not have to deal with all of the, you know, the pressures and the labels and the garbage that happens in corporate. And that's what was happening. Corporate was really causing that. So when I quit my job, right before my daughter was born, I, you know, started to shift in that way and started to really start connecting more to more of like powerful feminine women. You know, like I just recently had a group with some ladies, and they were so spiritual, really, you know, like sweet. I was like, wow, I don't even know how to do that. Like, wow, that's so nice of you. How do you do that? Right? And it was so odd because, you know, they're all in the kitchen and doing stuff, and I'm like, I don't cook at all. I don't at all. Like, I don't even know how to do this. And it was so weird. I'm like, I'm really revealing some stuff right now, I guess. But I'm like, that's kind of nice. Like, you know, like there's certain roles that different people play, and I just don't play that role. However, when you're in a role that you like, in a family role, like my husband and others that I care about, to do those type of, to use that label, if you will, if you want to call it a label, like to be part of that role was so nourishing. I was like, wow, like we're actually creating something, and there's men and women that we're creating food for, and it's really beautiful. And I felt more empowered than where I was like, I do not do that stuff. Look, I close deals. I don't close fucking refrigerators. Sorry. Like a family show. Right? But like, that's really what happened for me. So, and I think that's just growth, you know, it's just growth. But it was really lovely to be able to do that.
And can you give me when was the last time that another woman affected you deeply?
Like on what level?
Whatever level comes. The one that you might be scared of to talk about.
Gosh, you're really going to go there, Robert? Like, this is ridiculous. Well, there was a woman that I was working with, and she was very, all right, so I navigate well in business, right?
Yeah.
My archetype is like the ruler and the hero, because I'm very structured. I can go, boom, you can do this, boom, 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 do this, and you'll get a result. Like, I know how to do that because I'm a logical mind. I'm very calculated in what I do. I study. So I have a client that comes in, and she's very spiritual. So my archetype opposite is they're either like the adventurers, they're called the jesters, or they're very out there, right? They're like more creative. Of course I attract them because they need me, right? Because they're so creative. That's why my daughter is like so incredible, because she's so creative. And I'm like, okay, Hanalei, that's why she built a business so early. It's like, we're gonna do this. Okay, you're boom. And here's my 8-year-old having a 6-figure business, because creatives need people like me. So I had a client. I'm like, all right, here she's attracted to me, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a challenge, right? Because, you know, very just kind of flowy, right, if you will. However, she impacted me so much because she said, you know, I want you to know that I chose you because I can't do what you can do, and I have a feeling you don't even know what I do and how I do it. I was like, okay, that's a very good point. So you're paying me for me to help you, and I will do that. However, you're also paying me, and you're going to help me touch into that more side and understand it, and not necessarily have to dive into it, but be more accepting.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. We started working together, and you know, like these little things started to come up where she's like, you don't actually have to be that structured or that hard. Can we just bend a bit? And I was like, well, if you want a result, this is what we should do. And she's like, I don't know, really? I'm like, actually, you know what? What do you think? And it started to become more morphed, right? To where I was able to like start learning how to blend both sides. And, you know, being an intellect, if I could say I'm an intellect, I know how to navigate really well with different personalities and people. However, that side, I didn't want to navigate in. So that's why I dove into it even more deeper, because then I was like, wow, this is something I don't want to deal with or talk about. But it became a lot, much more healing, if you will, or more accepting. And then since that moment, I think I've had a lot more better relationships with women, and more, not just a relationship, but more accepting of the different styles of the feminine than just being the powerhouse feminine that I only knew how to act in.
Thank you so much, darling. Give me a hand.
I have never talked about this ever in public.
Give me a hand. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. So on the show, what I love, right, is that, and the guys know it as the clock, right? So 12 to 12, 12 to 2 is like what I know that I know. I know this, I know my name, I know where I'm from, I know where I'm going, right, today. 2 to 4 is like, I know that I don't know this. I know that I'm not good at this, I'm not good at that. I'm great at that, but I'm actually no good at that. And then 4 to 12 is like this area of what I don't know that I don't know. Yeah. And that's back there, the subconscious, all of that stuff, which I love, right? And so here's the thing that came up for me, and you know, I'll just say it because that's how we roll. Like, see, like, you are such a beautiful woman, right? Inside and out. And what I feel is that the last period of time, like, this feminine side of you has come out so much more than when I first met you. Not only that, it's like, there's a key thing that came in. It's like the story that you've been telling yourself about being a powerful woman, and it was out of survival, just like me.
It was an illusion.
It was out of survival.
Yeah.
And you're actually not that, but you stick to it, but you don't need to.
Right.
And you can let it go.
That's it. Yeah.
And that's
the work that I've been doing.
There you go. I had no idea. But
life is so easy. Because I've been like, business for me, I've been extremely successful. Like anything I do, boom, boom, I can create it because I can see it. I navigate it. And I know how to, you know, I can predict what can happen. I watch trends. I, you know, study stuff. However, it was also a boom, boom, boom battle. Like I was always like, kind of like battling because I felt like I was having to battle everyone else and be better than them because I was a competitor, right? And I, you know, I was a warrior. Like my past life, I was a warrior.
That's right.
And then I realized, like, whoa, like it really, actually, you can still do that and be that successful. It doesn't have to be that hard. It's like pretty simple. I want to work with you. I don't want to work with you. I want to work with you. I don't want to work with you. You don't have to actually deal with the bullshit, because the bullshit was what I was taking on. And when I realized that I was taking it on because I was trying to prove to everyone that I can either close the deal, work with that person. But I get to choose. I get to choose who I want to work with, who I don't want to work with. And then you're in pure, I guess, I don't know. It's like, it's so easy because you don't have to battle everyone to have an epic business or life or friendship. You know, friendships are supposed to be easy, and so should business be easy. That's why everything's working so well for my daughter, because she doesn't have those boundaries or those blocks that I had. You know, and so my husband and I decided when raising my daughter, we're like, I don't want her to peel the onion when she's older. Let's just start bringing in amazing people around her and introducing her to ways of thinking that we're not closed in a box. And as much as I didn't think that I was closed in a box, I still was. So my thinking patterns were showing up that I had to be this and I had to be that, and things were hard because my family, everything was hard. My parents, you know, were middle class, hard workers. Everything was hard, always hard, hard, hard. Like, wait a minute, that stuff does translate into your further life as a young person. And I put Pandora's box away so that it didn't affect me. However, it does. And then you're like, hey, business is so easy. So easy. You just be a good person, have a great epic service or product. Make sure your brand is super heart-centered. And that's why I love branding so much, because I see businesses just go for the look, the logo, and they just push it. And like, no, it has nothing to do with that. It's really about who you are as a human. And once you do that, that's what I call a sexy brand. Then it's like so easy because you don't have to navigate. You don't have to fight the garbage. You don't have to be a feminine or a masculine. You just be the person.
Love it.
You know?
Yeah. Love it. Love it, Rhonda. Round of applause for Rhonda, please, everyone. Oh, man. Wow.
Only you.
Wow. I love you, girl. So those of you watching, this is SpeakuP Monday here at Tropical Nomad. Thanks to Itchy and Brother Itchy and Sister Bella over there just doing it. Thank you so much, guys. Remember, you can be part of the studio audience. Studio audience, say hello. Hello. What the hell was that? Studio audience, say hello. There you go. So be part of the studio audience. Just come down Monday. Come earlier, 6:45. Starts at 7. You know how it rolls. So we're interviewing Rhonda, interviewing Q&A with Rhonda Swan, my sister, who I love dearly, and I'm finding out more about why I actually love you, right? Because there's onion layers being peeled off, right? So, okay, so then, what advice would you give to women now, right? Because you're a huge stand for women, right? So what advice would you give a woman now who perhaps does feel like it's a man's world, who does feel, that it's that much harder for them to achieve? I mean, what kind of guidance would you give them?
Yeah, really great question. Because for me, I thought it was you're either powerful masculine energy or you're just a feminine, and my old thinking of feminine was that you were weak or that you worked at home and you did. It doesn't have to be that way. You can have both. Because what I've learned is that, especially, back in historical days, like women, we are the creators. Like the reason why, we had our man around us. It's like because they were making sure that the woman could create, right? And create all this energy and this thought, because we have so many ideas. So when you have like a structure of, let's say, a powerful masculine energy around you, you just know you're protected. See, I didn't ever have that. I was always the masculine and the creator. So I was in conflict all the time, right? Like, in the goddess age. And that's why I was like, oh, this goddess talk, I can't take it anymore. Too much of that. And I realized, no, it's because when you've got an amazing, masculine energy around you, the goddesses create, and we create life, we create ideas. I mean, you get me in a space where my vortex is working, which it is crushing it right now. My vortex is strong because I do it every day. It's like I cannot be stopped, and it's so energetically right. And so for other women, it's like, don't pick one side or the other. Just be and believe in what you have. Now, make sure that what you do, you are so good at it. Like, you have to be so good at it, right? Because especially right now, like I work in the online space, right? So you have got to be so freaking good at what you do that you have to know what you do, how you do it. Everything has to work because there's someone else who's just like you. And there's that, it's like in a race, like Phelps, right? He wins by 0.01 of a second. You were a runner. You competed, right? It's that gap. It's that boom, that little click that makes you better than everyone else. So I don't care who you are. Women, like my mom used to say this, Rhonda, don't be the woman that makes the man go, oh my God, she's driving me crazy, right? My mom said that. Just don't be that. Just be yourself. Let them love and want you, and then be your best. And so we don't need anyone to validate us. We don't need anyone to help us be better. We just have to be ourselves. And then naturally, you'll attract the best mate. You'll attract the best partner. You'll attract the best business partner, best clients. It's like what I find so often is that not just women, everyone, they're just always looking for validation. It's either the ego shows up and they're puffing up, it's peacocking, they're doing this. It's like, just fucking do the work. Just do the work. And when you do the work, everything's like, whoa, and it's so radiant, and everyone's like, oh, it's like Pulp Fiction, right? When they open and they see that glow, right? Pulp Fiction, I'm like, yeah, I want that briefcase with me all the time. I want someone to like open Rhonda's briefcase and go, oh, and that's what I always see. So I think it's really for everyone. It's not just for women, because I used to think I had to fight in a woman's world, or in the man's world as a woman. I had to be that way. No, I'm like, yes, I'm just going to be my way because you don't work as hard as I do. Damn well straight you don't. And the way the world is working, it's gender inequality. I was like, screw that. I'm just going to make my own economy and make way more money than you. And I'm just going to blast out, the curve because I'll make my own money. I'll make more money than you do, man who needs a job. Not to insult the men. However, that is what's reality right now. Yeah. So if you can just say, I don't care what I am or who I am, gender, transgender, whatever that world is, just be the best. But be the best. Make the best product. Right? Like give the best work. Don't shimmy it and go, oh, I just put this together. It's really cool. It's good. Buy it. Oh, no, it's fine for me. I'm like, that's the part that I can't stand, male or female. Right?
Got it.
Yeah. All right. So I just went on a tangent.
I love it. No, but I love it because this is you, right? And this is what I want people to see. That's the whole point of the show is because whatever comes up is supposed to come up.
Yeah.
That's why there's no, like template. The template's out the window, right? Which I've been told.
We don't play instructions.
So then, like, you're a high power woman, and thank you for the answer. And like, how do you relax? Like how do you switch off? Yeah, wine. Yeah.
Honey, what happened to the wine?
Brian, where's it? Bring it in, man. It's all right.
It's on its way. Our family's like super funny and really connected, and we always have family night every night. It's like the family time, and Hanalei is so awesome, and so we talk about stuff and we play games and goof off. But I do like my wine. And it's like, oh, all right, you crushed it today.
And you always have the best wine, by the way. Just saying, Brian, no pressure.
Yeah, it's true. Hey, I'm like, if you make your own money, you can buy your own wine. Doesn't matter what it costs.
Yeah.
And that's empowering piece. That's so empowering. It really is. Like, I want to reiterate this because I remember because my family was so poverty conscious, if you will, and I always heard, oh, we don't have enough for this, we don't have enough for that, we don't have enough for this. I was like, well, I always had enough. Like I always had enough. Yeah. So I remember we did an event and I took a big board and I wrote on it, I will never allow a price tag to dictate my decisions. And I went, bam, and just broke right through it. So I'm like, well, heck, if I can break through that, then why would I ever allow a price tag to make a decision? Wow. Like not even just buying stuff, but with family, with things, right? Because that's what I recognized would happen. My family would make decisions based on I can't fly to see you, or I can't do this, or I can't do that. So it's like, all right, I'm gonna take all those barriers away. I'm gonna buy you a ticket to fly to meet us in Panama. Oh, sorry, we can't do that. I'm like, it has nothing to do with the money. What is it? Is it fear? Is it this? Like, and I started to see all these indicators coming through, and I'm like, money is just currency. It's energy. That's why they call it currency. As long as you're giving good flow, that should be coming right at you all the time. But it's the moment that we block it and go, oh, I don't deserve it. I shouldn't do this. No, it's because you don't believe that you deserve it and your product isn't good enough. You're not doing the work. That's why people don't make money in entrepreneurialism. That's why things don't work. It's because you actually fall to the side from the straight line and you're just not the best. And I'm sorry, it's not about competing and just being the best. It actually is being your best. Your best. That's why people buy from you. Yeah. Right? The world is full. Like I'm in PR, right? So I help people get featured in Forbes, Entrepreneur Inc. magazine. And I get people that come to me like, oh, Rhonda, can you do this for me? I'm like, yeah, sure. Let me show me your stuff. What do you do? What do you do so well? What are you good at? Right? And well, like, what? Hold on. You just told me you want to be an Entrepreneur magazine and you can't even tell me how good you are? Just lie to me. Say something that makes me impressed. Right? I'm like, whoa. So if you think about it, like people just do the work. They want 1,200 articles a day in my industry. 1,200 articles and right now they want more real people, entrepreneurs, like speakers, trainers, people that are doing and changing people's lives because the world went online, right? 72% of the eyeballs didn't pick up a magazine, they went online. So I'm like, boom, I can publish that many a day. However, if I don't have real quality human beings, I can't publish you if you don't know what you're doing. So this is where the separation's happening now, right now. So like my mission is like, you dial it in. Yeah. Coronavirus, use it. Yeah. It's the best time of my life right now because I'm using it to focus on my craft, get so dialed in on what I'm good at. Know your words, know your languaging, know how to tell people what you do and how you do it so well. Like that's a sexy brand to me. Then the separation's easy. There's no, oh, I'm competing. I don't even have competitors at all because no one can do what I do. Everyone needs to make their signature their autograph.
Yeah.
Like that's what I tell my daughter, honey, be so good your signature becomes your autograph. Like that's what we need to be like, and we need to embody it and embrace it and just get good at what you're doing. Just take some time. Give yourself patience.
Yeah.
And be great.
Love it. Thank you. Love it. Man, I feel like an amen or something. I feel like I'm back at Pentecostal church. We're going, brother, can you see
Preach it, sister.
Can you see it? Yes, I can. You're going, no, you can't. No, I can. But I want to. Come here, brother. I love it. It's a come to Jesus moment. Come to Jesus. Sorry for anyone if that offends anybody. It's not supposed to. I was brought up a Christian. It's okay. Excuse me. Goodness, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Is this live? Oh, it is. All right. So
it is what it is.
It is what it is. So look. So being a parent, right? I'm a parent. There's a few people who are parents here. What I love, and Hanalei, are you here somewhere, honey? She's here somewhere. There's a few things which I loved about when we personally spoken in the past about how you view parenthood and how you view her, right? So the things that come into your mind when I say Hanalei is amazing, why?
She is pure. She sees people for who they are, and she also accepts them for who they are. And when you said, how do you now understand compassion? She is compassion. Hanalei came into my life, and I actually thought that she was 33 days early. And that was at the time where my husband Brian and I had invested a lot into real estate, and we lost everything in the 07, 08 financial crisis. Like, and when I say everything, I mean truly everything. We were living high in the hog, top of the hill in La Jolla, Mercedes, blah, 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 all this BS stuff that we don't need. And I was so stressed out because I thought having all those things was going to make me a better parent, because I didn't have that growing up. And my family was poverty conscious. So I thought, well, just making more money was going to make me a better parent. However, instead, it made me more egotistical or more deserving, if you will. And I didn't even know. Like, we were jerks at the time. I didn't even realize we were. But we were like, crushing it, and like we're only navigating with the right people and doing this. And like, it was like such a slap, right? So when we found out we were losing everything, we were very, very humbled, which for the right reasons. I think God, space, universe, whatever you want to call it, said, you're not ready. And if your mission is to raise a child and not to put her in daycare, but be the best woman you can be, you just quit your job to prepare for this, you need to be humbled. So she was born 33 days early. And that was at the peak when I found out we were losing everything. I was stressed out, freaking out, because here we are losing this $1.7 million home. We had invested in massive real estate, lost 10 whatever homes in our name, this big development. And we were losing it all. And I'm like, I was a stress case, because here I am, like, my control factor was like trying to control this. I have to control this new life that I'm creating for this baby. And she came early. For a long time, I thought that I forced her to come early, so I was guilty. And then someone came through and said, wait, who is Hanalei for you? And I was like, she's like our balance, right? Brian and I are both Geminis, and we're like water, it's all this kind of crazy stuff that goes on between us. Are we water or are we air? I don't even remember. I think we're air. Yeah, because air adds to fire, right? So we combust. And Hanalei is a Aries, which I think is Earth or something. I don't really follow as much of that stuff. However, this made sense to me. She came into our life, and she's just so calm. She's like very present, and I'm like, right? And she's like very present, even as a very small child. And I thought that I forced her to come early. Instead, he's like, do you realize, don't you think that Hanalei came early to take your mind off of the garbage you were dealing with so that you can move on? And I like, it really broke me down to think, like, because of her birth, we then decided to leave all the stuff that we had, not live in that space, that egotistical space and all that superficial things that we thought made us who we were. We left it all and started traveling. And that was 12 years ago. She's 13 now. And so for her, to me, she's like my grounding because she is compassion. She's taught me the compassion. She's taught me how to be that, have that feminine side that's also strength.
There's an amazing lady, thank you, called Dr. Shivali, right? Some of you might know her, Dr. Shivali. Incredible woman. And, you know, what turned me on to her was a view of parenthood, right? So what she's saying, and I'll paraphrase, so it won't be perfect, but it will be good enough. You know, in the Western world, the common stereotype is that, you know, my kid's going to be better than me. You know, my kid's going to have opportunities that I didn't. My kid is going to be amazing. My kid's going to be next Tiger Woods, Lewis Hamilton, whatever it might be, right? And that's how we go in the Western world. But then in the East, and she's obviously from India, it was like, well, I'm the custodian of this being. And it's a case of, well, what is this being here to teach me? Which is completely around the opposite way. And like those of you who have kids, whether you have, whether you haven't, it's okay, right? But those of you who do, when you look at it from that perspective, it changes the way you parent completely. Because then you look at this kid who's been pushing your buttons. Why? Because they installed them in the first place. Well, they know where to push. Like, come on. But you look at it from that perspective, and you gain a whole different insight into you and the rest of the world, right? So one of the things, just in conversation with you, that I loved about the way that you were the custodian of Hanalei, was about when people say, you know, was it something like, how can I, or what was it? I'm trying to remember. How can I, or it's a phrase.
Don't not know? Was it where I
No, it wasn't that. It was a phrase of, it was similar to, you know, like, not what I can't do, but how can I do it? It's going to come back. It will come back. But it blew my mind because the answer that you gave me was one of sheer freedom. So it was putting back the question to her in a way that she had to make up her mind. Right. And wherever she wanted to go, she could go. So it gave her this belief, right, that she could do anything that she wanted to do. It was up to her. And then the second question, kind of answered the first one. The second, quite interesting that one. The second question is, so I remember I asked you this before, and your answer just made me smile. So the question was, you know, like the person that she is, was it something that she was born with, or was it something that she learnt?
I don't really know. I think that we all are born with some kind of a spirit inside of us. I was born as a warrior. In a lot of my past lives, I was a warrior woman, right? I really truly think that Hanalei, actually I know, because she recently did a past life regression kind of experience. And she saw herself, and she'll articulate this, she saw herself in multiple past lives where she was not loving herself. She was a man. Like, she actually expressed this. It was really wild to see this. And obviously we're quite an open family. My family's American Indian, so we have a lot of, you know, like spiritual guidance things in our background, and I blocked it for many, many years. However, I realized my daughter was very different. So I'm like, I've got to bring this back to help her. I don't know how to help her anymore. And so she did this past life regression talk, and she was with, you know, this person, and she saw herself as a man with a family, and he killed himself. He made a choice to actually run himself into the tree. And she expressed this, and she's like, I saw this, and here I was, my wife is like saying how much they love me and how much my family loves me, and I didn't accept the love that they were giving me. And this past life of her ran himself in a tree and died, and she was just distraught. Like, oh my gosh, how do you as a mother handle this? Like, how would I ever know this if I didn't allow or open up these realms of helping her see something that I can't help? I don't see past life stuff. And so I think that she was born that way, really. because she's got a lot of work to do here on this planet.
Yeah.
And I think that now that I know the things that she had experienced in her past life is what she's now doing in her present life. And every day she's so humble and so beautiful. And she's like, Mom, I just love you so much. I love you so, like at night she has to say, I just love you. And she looks me in the eyes, and I believe it. I mean, I know that's coming from her heart. And to be honest, I never actually had that kind of love. So like when my child is doing this, I'm like, wow, that's heavy.
Yeah.
So your question is, did she come this way? I really think she chose us, and she came to help us, my husband and I, Brian, be more connected, more alive, and more aware of how to be empathetic and how to be grounded and how to love more.
Got it. Yeah. Beautiful, darling. Thank you so much. Feel it pouring out of you. Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah. So in a little while, if you have any questions, probably about 5-10 minutes, feel free to ask a question, I guess. So transferring now. So I get, why you're such an amazing spirit in what you do, right? We've seen all the breadcrumbs, the difference, being at home, your dad, how he affected you and your mum, how she affected you. You still remember what she said to you, still very much there, still very much present. This will, determination to be the best you can be, and whether that comes through sport or all these different vehicles or outlets to it, it's just coming. And I love the American Indian spirit. It just reminds me of that, the brave who goes to his chief and says, I've got this fear and love, and I don't know which one, to follow, like which, I need help because it's killing me. And he goes, which one do I follow? And he answers to him saying, the one you feed, do you feed fear or do you feed love? Because whichever one you feed is what you're going to get more of. And what I get from you, personal opinion, just dropping in, is that like this American Indian thing that you've been pushing away for a while is coming back in.
More than ever.
Yeah, and it's just combining with everything, and it's just making it even more powerful through empathy.
Yeah. You've
got the drive, no doubt about it, but more power through empathy, and I feel it kind of pouring out of you more and more and more. And it's just, whoa.
That's the vortex.
Yeah.
The vortex is working.
Intoxicating, honey. Intoxicating. So look, probably there's a few people here who want to know about business, so probably a few business things dropping in.
I can always talk that way.
Yeah, I know you can, honey. I know you can. So they're like, so then how can someone find that thing that lights them up?
Well, I mean, you have to tap in, right? You have to actually do a lot of testing, right? We're digital marketers, right? So we test things that work. People want to go, oh, this is my idea, right? I'm just going to make this idea. Well, that's not how it always works. And I see so often many people picking an idea and they just go into it and they dive in and they build, and they're in creation mode. And everyone loves creation mode. However, execution mode is like where everyone falls. So if everyone just actually looked at what they wanted to do or what they're good at, and then they did some testing on what people might want or see what they could be good at, then you master it, right? I mean, it seems like common sense over in entrepreneurship. A lot of times we just think, oh, I want to be an entrepreneur, so I'm going to build this. Looks like a good product. Someone else is selling it. I'll do it too. But unless it's part of you and you can really make it, unique and really part of you, then usually they fail. And that's why I actually love and why I focus on branding so often, because I'm like, look, I can literally take anything. I could take probably that cactus and make it me. But it's got to be me. That cactus, someone's going to buy it because they're going to want it because it's mine. Because I made it that cactus that's mine. And that's the love and the drive you have to have for development and creation, because if you don't create a business or a product that you are so encompassed in it, then you're just selling a widget. And there's a lot of widgets out there, and some people are really successful when it comes to the widget selling. You can sell anything that someone else produces if you're a good marketer. But good marketers don't always need great brands. They just need a identifiable product that someone wants and they feel a gap. I don't work in that space really. I've never have. So I work in the like true, I don't want to say heart center because it seems a little cliche. I don't really talk that way, but it's like something that is like truly aligned with my values, how I can help someone. I know I can nail it. I'm so good at it. And my brand like is so sexy around it that people are just like, I just want that. I don't know what you do. I just want it. That's what it is, right? That's how you do it. So I think that's how people can really tap in and find what they're good at is by testing, but just like bathing it in you. Because there could be 1,000 people. There could be 100 people. Can you imagine having 100, even 1,000 people that just love what you did? There's 7.6 billion people in the world. 1,000 buying your product, kind of good. Even if it's $1,000, you're making some money, right? If it's a $5,000 product, you're making a lot of money. So it's just like think that way. Don't think so massive. Think how can I change 100 people's lives or 1,000 people's lives, but be so good at it that they love what I've got. That's it. Simple stuff, you know. And I think because everyone's so big on the global markets, they want to go too big. They don't just find their people. Just find your people. Make them really happy. Solve their problems. Talk into their world.
And, you know, the solving the problems and not heartfelt, but heart aligned in what you're doing, amazing. And on that heart aligned topic, another question that dropped in is the community aspect. And this is something which I also love about you greatly. And so if you can let people know, you know, what type of community activities and ventures, initiatives you're working on at the moment. I know one of them, but I love to hear it from you, as I love everyone else to hear, because it gives people more about you.
Yeah, we, well, every country that we've traveled to, last 12 years, we always would give back to the country that provided us so much, so let us live there. And so we've done a lot of giving back stuff. However, in Bali, we're doing a lot of giving back here. Especially now, like people need help. But there's a lot of different groups that are doing things, and they're doing great things, but they're giving them, you know, rice. They're giving them certain things, but they're not teaching them the sustainability side, like how to live. Like you stop giving me a bag of rice, I stop eating. So that we're teaching them to be reliant on government or the people. See, that's what we're all here in Bali for, to break away from that paradigm of, I need you to feed me, right? So the whole idea of coming back to giving people a fish is what we work on. And so we're doing an initiative right now we just launched a foundation called the Bali Royal Family Foundation with a really great friend of ours, George, which is with the royal families. So George has been really, you know, he's the primary piece of it, is rebuilding the palaces, right? So that they can create a sustainable living in their palace, so that it actually can become like something of tourists, like someone in Bali wants to go see a palace, they can see how they live, what they do. So they put some accommodations there. Then we're helping build a school to educate the kids, to remove plastic, teach them about plastic, teach them about the things that are hurting their island, really, not just the planet. Everyone's like, talk about the planet, talk about the ocean. No. Talk about your neighborhood, right? Get there first. So that's part of the really big one. Also, you know, my daughter, she's a fashion designer. So every piece of clothing that she sells in her company, because she uses bamboo and different sustainable fabrics, we donate either a school uniform to children in India, or we're now been giving masks locally here, around the world, and helping contribute to other projects like children in schools and things like that. So my daughter can see it. So she only has her own initiative, but we also have our own. So there's a lot of things that we do on a daily basis, right? Just giving back and helping and contributing. But these are some big ones that we're doing right now here in Bali, because I think more than ever, I believe that all of us that are stuck, if you will, thank you for being stuck in Bali, right? Like, thank you, God, or wherever you are, for sticking us in Bali. Because I think that all of us that are stuck in Bali, like, we have a purpose here. Like, we didn't get stuck here just for, like, by chance. Some people did. Some people are in there sorting themselves out. The rest of us are actually here because Bali is the epicenter for consciousness, for creation. Mama Bali really loves us, and she's given us everything that we need. And because those of us that are here that understand this, we can actually create some big change here. Like, we can do big stuff. And so that's why I believe all of us are here. And if we all come together, because there's all these pockets that are doing individualized things, we're working towards bringing all those pockets together so that, like, it is a much grander scale of impact, right? And so that's really part of what my mission comes from. And I never really did business as much in the land. I gave back, but I didn't do as much business. But now I'm seeing more and more the people that are left here. It's like, whoa, we can do some great stuff. You can do this, I can do this, you can do this. And then all of a sudden the business vortex is starting to work, which means the bigger the business vortex globally, the more we can help impact locally.
Yeah. And thank you. Like, I used to believe that the most powerful word in the universe is why. Now for me that's changed to collaborate.
Yeah, for sure.
You know,
for sure, more than ever.
It's incredible. I mean, one guy, Toby, I spoke to recently here, he was saying, you know, one of the most amazing things about being in Bali is that the people which are left here, stranded here, stuck here, want to be here, all the rest of that.
Yeah.
Like there's this intense feeling of collaboration. It's like the people which are here are, a lot of them are very conscious, purposeful people which know the power of collaboration and what it can create, you know. And now, you know, like we can touch the lives of people that before maybe wouldn't give us the time of day because they're too busy. Now you ring them up or you contact them by private message on whichever form of media and you get a response in the next hour. You know, like, yeah, sure, let's do it. So it's just like this can-do pandemic, right, that seems to be sweeping at least Bali, right? I'm sure it's other places in the world as well, but I'm here in Bali, so this is why I'm here, what I can feel, and I love it. You know, people like you, I'm looking at some of the people here, you know, like I wish I could show you the people here, but some incredible individuals, each and every one of them, you know, with just something different to offer, and that's collaboration, you know, having similarly aligned values, intention, but can fulfill different parts of that jigsaw puzzle. You know, and just coming together and just doing it, you know? Yeah,
and no one needs to be on an island, if you will. Like, you're not working on an island. It's kind of how we think as entrepreneurs. We're like, oh, we're by ourselves. However, what I'm starting to see, like, my business has exploded. I'm like 4 times growth, like massive, right? Like, everyone's thinking, business is stopping. I'm like, no, it's actually not, because I'm bringing the right people in, because I'm attracting the right people, and I'm doing it for the right reason. See, I want to control the narrative. Like, media is blasting us with garbage. So if I'm now in PR and I can control the narrative, I can bring like epic people like Gavin and Kevin in and talk about them, talk about you, like your show. That's why your show is blowing up, because it's a real story, real guy that made it. You know, he broke through the hard times, because right now the world is seeing hard times. But if they can get a little inspiration that says, wait a minute, this guy was dropped on the doorstep at 6 weeks old, now living in Bali, he's interviewing people, he's doing, like, come on. It's a little harder than the pandemic.
Thank you, honey.
Get creative.
Thank you.
You're not out of, you know, opportunity. You're just out of ideas. You're not taking action on it. There's so many things that you can do. And so I'm hiring people like madness. It's like, I hired like 6 people last week. I'm like, wow, who's doing that? But it's just because I'm like, I want more. How can I want more. I want more writers. I want more people. I want more, you know, like thoughtful people. I want someone that like can understand that market, that understand this market. And they're like, oh, and now I'm giving people opportunity. It's just because opportunities come my way, because I'm seeing it. And right now, especially here, not everyone is seeing it because they feel like they're on an island. Connect, come to these things, talk to someone. I'm like, today, literally, someone was like, oh, I'm such a happy guy. And I was like, yeah, you're such a happy guy. I love being around you. He's like, will you hire me as your happiness ambassador? I was like, actually, that's kind of a good idea. He's like, I'm just kidding. I go, why the hell did you turn yourself down? I was like thinking about it. Like, what a cool idea. You have a guy that's just like so happy, smiles all the time, right? And it's an idea. And everyone likes new ideas. And so do that, because the more you're around people and the more you're around these type of environments, spark happens. And then someone goes, we could work together. We should do this together, right? Or just help someone else out, and boom, the universe comes back, because it's got a perfect accounting system. Where you hold on to it, the universe is like, all right, well, you're holding on to that. I don't need to help you. I'm gonna go help that guy. Like Brian and I, we were in Fiji like 10 years ago. We had just lost everything, started traveling, and happy 808, by the way, honey. It's 808. It's our favorite number, and we always see it. I just saw it there. And we were in Fiji, and we were living in this hotel, which is super cool, on the edge of the, on the edge of the water. And these Fijians, they had a rugby team, footy team, and they were like a village. So they didn't have money. But they were making it into the championship. And so they're telling us we would go to their games, and like, we're gonna go, but we have all these rags for clothes. And we're like, oh, okay, well, we should get you t-shirts. Like, we should get you uniforms. You can be in the championship game. When is it? 5 days from now. We're like, oh, man, okay. So we're like, all right, so what should we do? He's like, well, God, we're going to buy you some t-shirts. So he drives us in Suva, which is like an hour away. And we're sitting in this room. And I kid you not, 2 years after we just lost everything. So we're rebuilding. And we literally left San Diego with $12,862.72 to our name, having millions in the bank. To literally, that's all we had, making very specific choices on what we wanted to do. So we're in Fiji. We're living like $30 a night in this hotel, and it was awesome. But so we go to Suva. This guy's like, we need uniforms. So we're sitting there, and we're looking at the uniforms, and he's like, well, we can get you these ones, the T-shirts. We can get you these ones, the ones screen print and the V-neck. And we're like, oh, those are nice. And they were like watching us, thinking, here are these white Americans. They're going to help us. They're going to do it, right? And I'm like, oh, we're like kind of nervous because we literally had about $2,800 left in our bank account, right? And then they're like, that'd be great. And then he's like, oh, they should have the socks in the championship game, and they should have the shorts, and they should have the undershorts. And they're so excited. And I'm looking at Brian, and he's looking at me, and he probably has this in his wallet right now. And the guy's like, he writes it down. It was like $2,300, $3,000 to buy $3,000 to buy all the uniform. No, we had 3,000. I thought we had 2,800. We had like 3,000. No, we had less. We actually had less. We had less. And he's like, so when can you get them done? He's like, well, I can get them done in 4 days. Like, when do you need the money? He's like, I need half now. He's like, I looked at him. He walked outside, and we have $3,000 left in our account right now. He's like, but they need it so bad, and they're like, how happy they are, and how can we tell them we're only buying those cheesy T-shirts for $700? And I was like, should we do it? He's like, yep, we got to do it. And that became part of who we were. It's like, when you don't have enough, give more.
Whoa.
You don't have enough, give more. And we literally didn't have enough.
Whoa.
We gave half, about $1,500. And then 4 days later, like a $10,000 sale came through in our company. It was like, boom, no problem. And like, we were able to cover it. And then like these guys, it was like, they killed all their best chickens and made us dinner and like sang to us. It was like this is what they're, like this is what we were able to do for them. So to do that, and that's why now part of everything that we do is like give more so you can receive more, because the universe is like, okay, you're willing to give it. Don't like not gonna give it back, help more people, and don't come back.
Love it. Yeah.
And that's a sexy brand to me.
Mamma mia. Now, guys, what we're going to do now, so Brian, even though it's about Rhonda, you have to come sit. You have to. We'll love you. I invite you to come sit next to
do you have that? Bring out that.
Rhonda.
Bring out that.
Right, bring that as well.
Because that was like 10 years ago and he still holds it.
Bring it. Yeah, bring a glass of wine too. Yeah. Bring it. Oh, good. Though you're missing a glass. Right, so come grab a seat somewhere, or just grab a seat. Now, when you speak, just bring the microphone towards you as well. All right. So everybody, this is Rhonda Swan, another part of the Unstoppable family. He is the Unstoppable surfer.
Yeah.
And I've been watching so much of your videos, by the way, recently. I'm loving them. God, and Monty as well.
You need a beard, dude, because he's launching a beard product.
I know. I'm watching your surfing videos. I don't even surf. I'm like, there's Michelangelo Moran who just started surfing. I'm feeling pressured. So we're having a look. It's coming. Now, while we're doing that, does anyone have any questions? Cool. So remember, so I'll ask you a question, then I repeat it back, so everyone here can hear it, and then these guys can answer it while they're finding.
Check it out, Robert.
All right, let's look.
Now this is back in 2010, so that was the half payment.
Yeah, that was the half payment.
Wow. So this is the half payment that Rhonda was talking about back in 2010, and he kept it. So I'm going to hold it up like this. Maybe you guys can see it, but maybe not on close up. That's okay. I'll put it over here. Amazing, and he kept it. I love that.
Yeah.
How amazing is that? And you're incredible.
And what was
people,
the year? Does it have a year?
It was 2010. It was.
Yeah.
Check.
Wow, we got 3 microphones. Itchy.
May 21st, 2010.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they were the Unstoppable Islanders, and they still wear the uniform.
Wow.
They still send us messages. It's so cool.
So good. I love that. Give more. Love it. Now, guys, so we're moving to the Q&A part of the evening, as in for the audience, the in-house audience who are waiting, probably have a few ideas in your head. So, my brother, please feel free to ask me a question. Oh, stand up. Yeah, remember I need to repeat it. Yeah. Thank you.
I'm Richard from South Africa.
Richard from South Africa.
Man, I love your story. Amazing. I have a question regarding the Forbes magazine.
Mhm.
Like, you said on the internet, there's like lots of like courses out to learn online marketing and digital marketing, but like no one's like speaks about PR, the branding in like print media, like magazines and TV. I think like I like to have more like of the credibility nowadays in like social media, because anyone can like build a landing page.
Yep.
Put your ad with us.
Yep.
So like if like you were to like sum it up in like a 3 point or 5 points, like what did you do to get onto the cover
of Forbes?
I love Forbes magazine and that's what you're on the cover. I'm like, well,
yeah.
So the question paraphrased is that in the world as it is now, we're writing a blog. You know, you can pump yourself up, give yourself a bit of a rep. You know, the higher play is being featured in quality tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 publications, and you know, because that's real credibility. And the question asked, thank you, my brother, is, you know, like, how did you do it, right? How did Rhonda, you know, get on the front cover of Forbes magazine?
Yeah, great question. And it's interesting because, you know, back just even like 5-10 years ago, it was all print media, right? So Forbes is a tier 1. Forbes Inc. Entrepreneur Magazine, they're considered tier 1. The reason why they're considered tier 1 is because of the readership, right? The eyeballs. And so what we did very early on is I realized that there was an online magazine. Now, to get into print, it's, you know, a couple 100,000, right? Or you have to be a complete badass celebrity to get in. So run a digital marketing company as well, right? So for the last 15 years, I've been like focusing on how do I get into different angled forms of media. And recently, about 2 years ago, I started to see the focus going towards online magazines. And most entrepreneurs think that I'm not good enough, right, to be in it. However, what we started to do is pitching these magazines and these publishing houses or publishers and saying, look, these are real people that are real entrepreneurs. I know Justin Bieber's awesome. How much am I going to learn from Justin Bieber? What if I started giving you real stories, like real people that made 6 figures or made 7 figures because of this, or telling stories like Robert's? Like, what if? And so I started pitching these contributors and editors and publishers, and we started penetrating, creating relationships. And so once the market started to shift, we started to get in more, right? And so in order to get in, you need to be someone that has created something. You've created and created transformation for someone, or done something that is very notable or PR worthy. But PR worthy nowadays is like someone that's changing like their local area, someone that's changing, you know, the platform, where they created something new. Everyone is over the celebrity style stories. Like we all are. Like I know Michael Jordan's epic. Kardashians, why would I watch their show? I want to watch real people. I want to learn about real people that are doing real things. And so we started penetrating that market. And to get in now, you've got to have a real pitch. Something, and that's what every entrepreneur needs. If you want to be a speaker, you want to impress someone, pitch it. So when I was talking earlier, be epic, be awesome, do something so great. So when you go, Rhonda, this is what I do. And I've changed this guy's life because of it, because I do it this way. I've got a value base to my company. I give back, but I change people's lives because I do this well. You pitch me that way, I'm going to go, whew, man, give me some of that. Let me go talk to my editors. Let me go talk to someone, because then I am in love with your story, right? My team goes, all right, I'm going to work for you. And that to me is more what the world needs and deserves. So we started realizing that once everything went online, especially recently, last 3 months, 72% of the eyeballs, 76 million eyeballs were in Forbes picking it up. But Forbes, as a physical book, was just table dressing. Digital marketers, we know how to track stuff, right? Digital is what I wanted. So I was like, how do I get on the digital magazine? How do I penetrate that? I didn't care about print, but everyone else wants to be in print. I wanted to be in the digital side of it all. So that's how we started to do it, is going, all right, let's find the narrative that is going to work for this angle and find someone that's got a real story. And then we just pitch you really well. But we also do things a lot differently, because we pick up where the other PR agencies leave off. We do a lot of back end stuff, like we run traffic and we do all kinds of stuff because we know how to do that. And then we grab audiences through pixels and we do all kinds of fun stuff that the publisher's like, what are you doing? Why did this column just get 50,000 views in every single article? I'm like, well, I'm working for you. Work with me. I got a real entrepreneur over here. This guy's from South Africa. He's done something epic. He's changing people's lives. Let's tell that story. Because you know why? I'm going to find the group that needs to know about that guy, and they're going to love him. There's going to be 20,000 people that are going to watch it, not 500 that are in all of your articles these days because you're publishing 1,200 a day. Great. However, I just cornered the market and said I'm going to be the best in PR. So no PR agency does what we do. And so for you, you can get in. If you come to me and pitch me with what you're so epic at and know that little click that makes you so much better than everyone else, that's what I look for. I look for the gap. And if somebody can show me their gap, I will fight for you. And my team goes hard for people that can show they're working in the gap.
Great answer. Yeah. Bella.
Let me just add one
Bella.
thing. Test, 1, 2, 3.
You're good. Bella.
Oh, are we good? But it's like also pitching yourself, and that's the biggest thing. Like we were just testing it ourselves to start with, and like one of the big things we're like, we're gonna go on an RV media trip around the U.S. and we're like, well, why don't we pitch getting sponsored by an RV? And we got sponsored driving an RV across the U.S. Now, who would have thought of that? And I was like, it was just kind of like
Get
this,
creative.
but it's the pitch.
Yeah.
And then while we're driving, we started reaching out to the news stations on the places that we're stopping and saying, this is our story, this is what we're doing, and this is what makes us unique, regardless of who we are. And they're like, wow, okay, great. And then it's a constant thing. But like once you start, figuring that out yourself, and then it's like, how do you want to go bigger and bigger? And then you can go into, bigger publications, connect with us. It's like, but you gotta put yourself out there.
Yeah, and it's layers, right? Once you get in, like we do tier 2 as well. So tier 2 isn't less than tier 1. It's just has less eyeballs, right? So 76 million were, picking up Forbes. 184 million are online looking at Forbes right now. Online, right? And so we specialize in tier 1. However, we leverage tier 2s for layers because being a digital marketer, you need SEO, right? So I want someone to Google my name and go, Rhonda Swan, branding agency, travel the world, Rhonda Swan, blah, blah, like our ensemble family, like everywhere. So that's how we leverage tier 2. So a lot of our clients will start in the tier 2 realm because they're like, I'm just working on that. I'm working on the gap, right? So I'm like, great, work on that gap. If you pitch me hard enough that you're working on your gap, I will publish a full-blown feature about you and what you're doing and put you in a tier 2 publication, which gives you credibility, that gives you leverage. SEO, because any client that you might be working with, you can say, look, I was just recently featured here. Disrupt Magazine, I just launched, published 3 of them this week. And they're a tier 2, but they're epic because they're very focused on entrepreneurialism and disruptors, right? So like what a better place than to be featured in if you're just growing and building and you want leverage. And now like these publications are becoming gold for people because then you can now pitch yourself as a speaker. You pitch yourself on podcasts. Like we create media kits for all of our clients, right? So you're like, look at how epic I am. I've done this talks I've done. I've been published here. I've been published here. Do you want me to speak? You have to now in this market be differentiated from everyone else. And right now it's PR. It's doing epic shit, having great products, but it's not about your client saying that you're great. It's about a third party saying how great you are, right? Because we can all stand on a soapbox and go, I'm awesome. I'm going to do lives. I'm going to do this, which you should. However, it's you. It's your client saying it. But when all of a sudden Forbes Magazine goes, this person just did something epic. Check it out, right?
And
Boom,
it's a long-term game.
Yeah.
So it's no short-term like results thinking, oh, it's going to happen 1 month, 2 months. This is a long-term game. But I
teach people how to make it
it's
instant,
a ground
it's
game that keeps on going, and it stays there, unlike a Instagram post that will be gone in a day.
You're right.
Yeah. And then so for you, Brian. So everyone, this is Brian Swan. Hello, mate. Love your work. Who is the unstoppable surfer? the cool Gandalf version. I love you, man. He's an amazing guy. And look, we're going to feature Brian on a different episode, but just bringing you into this a little bit more. So So can you tell us in your own words what is Unstoppable Family and how it came into being?
I'm not sure if Rhonda talked about this, but it's like where it really started when we started traveling 12 years ago. When we lost everything, we started traveling and we had this brand name called Swan Lifestyle.
It was so cheesy.
And
I know that.
And everybody that was responding to our ads, they're like, there's about 20% thought we were like a swingers club. So I'm like, all right, this Swan Lifestyle is
Swan
like
swingers. So.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know, but like we need to come up with a new thing. And Rhonda went to this event.
We were in Bali.
We were in Bali, 2009, and she came back and she saw this this woman called Cynthia Kersey, and she read a book called Unstoppable
Women.
Unstoppable Women, and she came back and she said, I got a 30-day plan to just revamp our whole business, and we need to rebrand ourselves. We need to get a marketer, and she goes, let's rebrand ourselves. And she goes, Unstoppable. I'm like, family. I don't know how it went down, but that's how it actually started. So,
Got it.
How they Unstoppable Family, it really started when we started traveling, but the brand name started 2009.
Beautiful. And the other question, which I'd love to get your feedback on, is that, so you live with this incredible woman, you are an incredible man, and Hanalei is an incredible daughter, right? I know all three of you.
Don't ask them how it is.
No, I'm not going to ask her that. I'm not going to ask her that, because I know that's what you want to ask. I know it is.
I didn't hear it.
So, but like, how do you live? So like, how do you make? I wouldn't necessarily. I'm not necessarily a fan of balance, but like, how do you? How do you fit together, right? As a unit, as a family, because you're all very driven. Okay.
Complete opposite. It's a three-legged table.
Yeah.
No, it's a crazy lifestyle. We've been working together we've been together for 22 years, which is crazy. Long years.
Longer than my beard.
Yeah, way longer. But she retired from my corporate job back in 2006, and we've been working together. So it's one of those life balances of trying to figure out how to like when you have a lot of money and you're doing it's easy as shit. Yeah. But then when you lose everything and you're like, okay, what are we going to do? We decided to do what normal people would do, like go travel the world, right? So then you're traveling through third world countries and being in spots where you have to talk to clients. Internet's horrible. You have to be flexible, but you're doing the same business, but you're trying to take on different roles. The main thing is you have to be flexible. And it's like, she's a powerhouse. There's no doubt about it. I'm a powerhouse in my own mind, but not my own mind, but of what I do. Yeah. But she's just like, go, go, go. We're different people, but once we start understanding our roles, you can start operating together. And it's and then also working as a family. Because Hanalei is she's part of all of our business deals. Yeah. We don't leave her out of anything. When we fire, she's part of the process because she's going to learn about life right then and there, and why and how we do it. When we talk about money, she's there. Family is business, and that's a really crazy thing where when family is business, you got to separate things. No, it's not. It's the school system's broke, and it's you have to start learning about how to be an entrepreneur. And I remember, I think Hanalei was 4 years old when we were in Peru. And she looked at two different, and they're really hardcore in Peru on the street vendors, and one's doing something really great, and the other one's doing something half-assed. And why did you give that guy money? Why didn't you give the other person money? That person provided value, and she learned at a young age, if you're not providing value, you're not getting money. You have to provide value. And so this is it's like life and business, family, it's all intertwined. Yeah, I don't see any separation.
We call it the three-legged table, because if you think about 4 legs of a table, one can be off and it still stands up, right? One can be off and it still stands. However, we're 3 people. So we said, look, as we started traveling as well, we all are part of this triangle table. One leg on a 3-legged table goes off, flat in his face. So from the start, we started helping her understand that she was part of the table and there was responsibilities that we all had. So when we would travel or things that we would do in business, it's like, you're off. Like, we're all in our face right now. Step it up. And even at like 4 and 5 years old, she's like, you know, like, we got it. And she would go, Dad, you're messing up our table, right?
Wow.
And but that's just responsibility. And if you realize that, like, we all have a role, we all have a thing to do. And the three-legged table just always stands strong. And there are times we fall on our face and we all realize, like, oh, shit, we have to get up. You know, get up, figure it out. But then we do it together.
I love that because, you know, for me, one of the most powerful things is family businesses, right? Which are at every level because, you know, I guess the straightforward common sense, which isn't always common, is that, you know, family realize the power of family because they realize that this is part of our legacy, part of our future.
Yeah.
So if we can build this together, right, there's no better way because, you know, what in growing up with our kids, one of the decisions that Marina and I made as well was we wanted to be in their lives, right? As opposed to we're in Australia when we had our kids, even I'm from London and she's from Jakarta. But one of the reasons that we left Australia, Sydney, was because we were finding that we weren't able to do that in a way that we wanted to.
Yeah.
So, you know, it was easy for us to fit into that. You do your job, I do my job. We go away, the kids are in daycare. We go and work, we do our thing. We come back, I kiss them goodnight, maybe if they're still awake. And in the morning, I'm out early and all the rest of that. You know, and I fought really hard against that, you know, to not be that way. And I can see, you know, part of your story, for those of you who don't know it, you have a very strong approach to that as well.
Let me add one thing in, because I think this is a big thing on like kids, on like, oh, the parents want me into the family business and they hate it, they resent it, they're part of it. We all have our own businesses. Hanale's got her own business. Like, she doesn't need, like, she's not part of the family business. But every single,
you've been fired from my company.
I've been fired a million times, guys.
Fire husband.
I keep on.
He's like, I gotta have my own.
I'm like, I'm coming back. So but the thing is that all of our business intertwine, and then we all like, you know, that's like, I talk about hers, she talks about Hanalei's, we talk about each other's, and it's intertwined. So it's not just about a family business. It's about, and especially during this time, and like, you know, coronavirus, pandemic, when you're sitting at home. And like, what are you going to do for kids? Like, are you going to send them back to school? I personally wouldn't, but that's my little thing. But what are you going to do with your kids? Do some projects where they can learn how to freaking build a business online. And that's your project together. That's how not only do you build the family relationship, the connection, but you teach them how to like learn about money, learn about profit margins, learn about how to build a funnel, learn about simple stuff. But learn it now because, man, dude, the school system, it's broke. And this is the time to where, A, you can learn about online, B, build that connection and have a freaking incredible family together. It's like the most miraculous time that we're in if you actually really realize it.
Thank you. And look, so this interview was
way longer than
but I know, man. But I love Brian. I love to bring you in here, and I think I love the fact that you have this family perspective. And I think it's really important for people to see that just a little bit. And we'll go into it deeper in another time. We have all three of you on.
Can I come back?
Oh, well,
just
listen,
me,
man. You are coming black, and you're coming back.
Yeah.
All right. Now, had to put it in. I'm sorry. Had to put it in. So, has anyone got any more questions? Love it. Well, we've got a few people here cracking up. They haven't recovered from that last comment. Love it. Okay. So look, what we're going to do. So in a minute, Rhonda, I'm going to hand it over to you, and probably to you as well, Brian, any kind of parting words. But before we do that, I just want to say a few things. So one of the things is that if you're watching this at home or you're here in the studio audience, firstly, thank you, studio audience, for coming. Round of applause for yourself, please. Yeah. You know, and look, so again, I noticed some of you here, Gavin and Kevin, they're only going to be in future shows. It's like, guys, listen, I just want to let you know that you're on. It's like, okay. Ollie, you're another one, man. You're coming on. Tyler, you're coming back. Monty, man, I'm looking at.
I know everyone. All your show guests are here.
Half the room are going to be on the show. Awesome. Just have to find a way to fit you all in. Maybe we do it all together. So look, if you are feeling like a bit of a tug or a tap on the shoulder from the universe saying, you know what, I feel like I have something to contribute. It's not about fame or fortune, by the way, because we have all something to learn no matter where you are in your life, right? Because people inspire people, right?
Yeah.
People inspire people, and we can learn from everyone. We can learn from everyone, right? So if you're getting that little tap on the shoulder, that little, oh, that sounds good, don't give in to fear. Just hit me up, either social media, personal message, or YouTube, Instagram, however you get it, or just get my WhatsApp number. Everyone's got it, I think, right? You can find it and hit me up, right? I would love to have you on. I'm sitting where these guys are now, because it's all about value at the end of the day, and delivering something to people of value. They can take away something as a reminder, maybe of something that they've forgotten, or maybe an insight to something they think, oh shit, I need to do that. Or it just might be like, damn, I got to get moving, you know. And that little change of mindset, that change of insight, where you start this inertia wheel going again in the vortex. Love that vortex. So many great takeaways. Oh, thank you, honey.
It's really awesome.
So many great takeaways. So in a minute, so I'll start with you, Brian. Any closing words? And then I'm going to go to you, Rhonda. Any closing words? Whatever comes up for you. You know, it doesn't need to be related to anything. It's just whatever comes up for you in your heart. So next week we have Olumide or Olu, right? Olumide is stepping up.
He's awesome.
Which is an incredible man. So I can't wait for
He's dropping
for that
an
one.
entrepreneur article this week.
Yeah, and this week is an entrepreneur article.
He's going to be an entrepreneur magazine. I'm so pumped for him.
Olumide, yes, brother.
Yeah.
Come on, man. It's funny. I sent him this message saying, you know, where go one, go all. You know, where go one, go all. Last time, where go one, go all. If you get that, you get it. If you don't, it's okay. I'm not sure if I get it. I think I do. Just pops in one day. So, thank you so much, Sister Rhonda. You're going to have your word, but I just want to give it up for being you, for being heart-centered, vulnerable, open, and welcome to discuss.
You made me talk about things I don't normally do.
Yeah, you know, and you know what I love about this is that actually Speak Up is all about that, because everyone knows your fame and fortune.
I know you do this stuff.
You know, but I want to get beneath the bonnet, right, and see what makes you tick, because by doing that, other people get to see and feel something that's a kindred spirit connection within them, and then they're inspired to do something. And that's what I find. That's what I love. It's not me asking a question; it's something else. And so nothing is scripted. No. Two Q&As are the same. They're all different. And I don't know what I'm going to ask. It just comes in at the time after a little practice earlier on, which I love. So thank you to both of you. And I'm going to first pass it on to you, Brother Brian, and I'm going to pass it over to you, Sister Rhonda, for some parting words.
So from the age of 11 to 16, my father, he was passing away of AIDS. And I got to see death from 11 to 16. And I, at a young age, knew that there was no guaranteed day. He didn't know if he was going to live 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years. But what I saw at that age was that you got to go live now. And this is the time right now that we're all sitting here, we're listening to this. It's like, if you're putting something off, what the hell are you waiting for? We're in freaking plandemic, whatever you want to call it, 2020. And we're never guaranteed any other day. So if you're not going after what you really want right now, then damn, just die right now. You know? And so, and you know what, in Rhonda and Hanalei, really, like, those, they're pushing me forward, and like just the inspiration of what they're doing. And so gotta go do it now.
Thank you, brother.
Good advice.
Thank you, Brother Brian.
I've said a lot tonight, so I'll leave this. If you're going to create a brand, create a sexy brand. If you're going to be anything, be unstoppable!
Oh, yeah!
Thank you, my man. I appreciate you.
Brother man. I'm going to come and give you a big hug, because hands is what we do, but please don't make up, otherwise we'll fall over.
Oh, you're the best.
Thank you, Sister Rhonda. Appreciate it.
I appreciate you.
Thank you. All right.
Those awkward long hugs. Not with Robert. They're awesome.
So people's this part now we're making it something to go wrong. But I always love, when people kind of connect with one another. So you're all still sitting here. So you know what? I wasn't planning to do this. If you don't want to take part, just skip to the next person. That's cool. But in like 30 seconds, just tell us what you're passionate about. 30 seconds. Starting with you, Brother G. You stand up, man, because I know you can do this.
Now I have so many passions.
I know.
So, hey there. Hey.
I'm extremely passionate.
You don't always do this, by the way.
I have so many different passions. Like you see, you watch me do all sorts of different things, and I don't like to just stick in one box. But I'm just so curious. I want to know about life. I want to know why things happen, why we do what we do as human beings, and figure out just how to decode what the hell's going on. So that drives me. Just that constant search for knowledge, wisdom, how to figure out how to do things better, how to find that little thing that creates all the results. Archimedes once said, he's like, give me a long enough lever and a fulcrum on which to place it, and I can move the world. So I'm looking for that always in each area of my life.
Love it, man. Thank you, my brother.
Yeah, man.
Thank you, my brother. All right, come up. Thank you, my man. Now, guys, don't need to clap each time, otherwise you're going to be here forever. Right? So you can either, there's enough cable actually, so you can sit down.
I will stand up as well.
Yeah.
It's better. Huh? Huh?
Yeah.
What can I say?
Yeah, we still
Perfect. So what I'm passionate about, creating life. Like I lived so long, only like reactive, like only reacting to the things which are happening to me, and just being in the system and just work in the system and just be, kind of only alive. So, and Bali gives me also so much since 4 years. 4 years was the first time here in Bali. I found out that I have to create more in life, that I really can make more out of my life, that I can create every moment of my life. And I'm so grateful to be surrounded by so great people like Gavin, like my love, Xenia, like the Unstoppable family, because every one of them, all of you, are an inspiration. So many inspirational points for me, which keeps me going every day to create even more of my life. And that's what I'm passionate about, to create every minute, every moment of my life.
Thank you, my brother. Beautiful. All right, lovely. So you can just say one word that inspires you if you don't want to talk. Right? So you can say one word: passion, or
oh my God,
or people.
Well, I'm inspired by baby kids, by finding the balance in their life. I live in Bali for 5 years. I also leave the corporate culture in Moscow, but now I try to find the balance between living in Bali, creating a family with my son, and between work. And of course, consciousness, mindfulness, and meditation. That inspires me now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Hey, my dear.
Hey, I'm passionate about love. I mean, the energy, how it goes through the people, and how we can connect with each other with it, and how we can bring it to each other, and how like all that system works with the love. And this is what makes me like feel really really powerful at the moment.
Beautiful, thank you so much. We'll go to here, and then go to you. You can say a word if you like. Just a word.
Oh gosh. I am passionate about lifting other people up. Yeah. I like to make people feel that they can be the best, and they have all the possibilities, that we don't need to win the lotto. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Kirsten, and I feel nervous. I'm passionate, I guess, about doing what scares me, about coming alive. I used to live under a tremendous amount of fear and had like every anxiety disorder and alcohol addiction. And I'm coming up on 11 years sober, and ever since I got this second shot at life, it's been about doing what scares me. And so my motto like 11 years ago was fuck fear. If allowed to say that. But really, what I've learned really in COVID, because I've really gone deep internally during this time period, is it's not about fuck fear. It's about love fear. And I found a deeper level of self-compassion to love every part of me that I used to think wasn't okay. And so it's love fear, love all those things that didn't have my own compassion. So coming alive with everything is welcome.
So I'm passionate about chocolate and especially ethically produced chocolate, because I guess here many of you also love chocolate, I hear, but it's difficult to find out if the chocolate is really slave-free, if the people get good salary for it, if child labor is used. So I'm working now with a local chocolate company in Bali. They produce over 20 flavors of plant-based chocolate. And I'm planning to be the biggest ethical chocolate seller in Europe. And then we, change the chocolate world.
What I'm passionate about. Actually about like women like Rhonda who inspire us that we can be a badass as a woman. I love it. Thank you so much.
Okay. Richard from South Africa. Yeah, so my his number one word is freedom, and I tell people it's economic freedom, because from South Africa we got political freedom, but there's a lot of like poor people that's broken in poverty because they expect other people to fight for their freedom. That worked with political freedom, but not economic freedom. So it's really passionate about assets and empowering people, because once you have assets, you get your freedom. Once you get your freedom, you get your independence. Once you get your independence, you come to Bali and you live the island life. So my number one word is freedom.
Hi, my name is Zain. I'm also from South Africa. I'm a singer, musician, songwriter, and I'm passionate about music and making a difference, like giving back to people. Being generous. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Kristen. From Germany. I am a photographer and kind of traveler. So basically, it's my biggest passion to travel, but then also kind of, I guess, to create your own life and basically live on your terms. And if other people don't understand that, it's fine. But just go your own way, and that will work out, I guess, in the end.
Thank you. Thank you. Mine the cable's in.
Hi, I'm Daniel from Germany, and was working a couple of years in having the typical 9 to 5, always in front of a couple screens, and working a lot with Excel. And my passion is to help people save time while working in the office, while working with Excel. So I'm basically teaching Excel and how to automate your work, so people can save time at work and can focus on more interesting things in Excel. And yeah, that's what I do, and helping people save time. That's what I'm passionate about.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Hello, I'm Tyler, and I would say I'm passionate about sharing my own stories and lessons, failures, and oh, hi there, I remember you. And also my vulnerabilities. I really love to share being vulnerable, because I think it's helped me, and I know it can help other people. So ultimately just trying to inspire other people to overcome any sort of adversities, whatever they may be. That's my passion.
Thank you, brother Tyler. Beautiful man.
Hi guys, my name is Monty, and for the longest time I've been passionate about building businesses. I've never had a 9 to 5 job. I've never had a corporate job. I had my first business when I was 8. So building business is what I'm really freaking good at. And what I'm really passionate about now is building businesses without me being in them, and mentoring others to scale themselves out of their own business. And the second thing I'm passionate about is getting on your show.
Well, man, done. You're done. Ollie, go on, man. I ain't even knew it. Yeah. So Ollie or Haley, whichever one. Come on, man. Just one word is good.
First of all, I am passionate.
Once I get you on my show, I'll be on your show.
All right. Listen, I'm in. I promise. Absolutely. Absolutely.
A date and that's it.
All right. Done. Thank you, my brothers. Hey Lee, you're up.
So I'm passionate about intimacy with myself and connection, so I can bring that and change the generations of my family of pain and struggle, so I can educate others in what's possible. So thank you so much. I really acknowledge you as a woman, because I've lost everything 2 years ago with 2 businesses in New Zealand in 2 different cities in construction of all things. And it's just showing me that I'm rebuilding who I am now, and money doesn't do that. You do it from joy on the inside out and create from that moment. So thank you. Thanks,
Sister Haley. Appreciate it, darling. Janine over there. Ollie can go on as well, brother. Because I'm coming on the show. Skip it. I love you anyway, man. Either way. I'm there for you, brother.
Hi, I'm Janine. I am extremely passionate about transforming education. So that is one really big thing for me, which we've had a lot of conversations about really preparing our children for the future and how they can live and thrive in a way that they're not learning right now. The second thing I'm passionate about, as Rhonda also mentioned in her talk tonight, is this real shift in consciousness and really being a part of kind of the evolution of consciousness. And for me, it's a bit of the intersection between the heart, the mind, between science and spirituality. And it's a lot of what you talked about, which I really think is also why this community is so powerful right now, is because we know a lot of that. We've come a lot from this busy kind of modern world and kind of colliding with this Balinese spiritual. And I think it's that intersection, that sweet spot right there, that I'm passionate about.
Yeah. So brother Ollie.
You're looking at me over and over.
I'm looking at you, my brother.
You're so good at it.
I love you, brother.
Okay, what I'm gonna say right now, you're not gonna like that.
It's okay. Bring it.
All right. Let me tell you the way that goes. The only reason why I'm here tonight is because of these guys, because I appreciate them so much. Massive inspiration. I decided for myself for this month not to do any interviews, not to do any talks, not to do any podcasts. Why? Because I decided not to be passionate about anything. I've been passionate about so many things over the last 8 years by running all these businesses, very successful businesses and very fucked up businesses on the same side as well. So we've been up and down through the whole journey. And what Corona told me was I need some space. And the last show I'm running, and that's the one I want you to have on, is we scaled that so fast because of Corona. I mean, we scaled that up to have guests like Gary Vee, and it was what the fuck is happening? And I'm in a process to close down my biggest company because we can't sustain it anymore because it's relying on travel. Breaks my heart. Got all the people letting go. So here's what I do at the moment. I'm not passionate about anything. I just let the fucking free flow. I hope that's fair enough.
Love it, man. I love it. And see, here's the thing, right? So I reached out to Ollie 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I'm kind of stalking him in a way. He doesn't know it now because it's the first time I said it. It's black man stalking me, 6'4". Don't tell him where I live. Don't tell him where I live, Rhonda. So, but look, what it is, so I was following Illumide, who we're going to have on next week, right? And I saw that you two are very close. And then I just picked up a post of yours and I just clicked onto it. But what I find about you, right? And again, this is fresh, guys. I haven't set this up. I haven't spoken to Ollie before about this. Is your honesty. So the posts that you do, just like Gavin over here, Kevin over here, Monty, obviously, Rhonda, is your honesty, man. And this post just hit me because I was fuck, this guy is just telling it how it is, for him. And I thought, okay, I'll just keep an eye on it. And I kept an eye on a few other ones and a few other ones here and a few other ones there. And the same congruent line was followed in each of them. And I thought, this guy is straight up. then I reached out to you. I said, hey man, you know, like I don't know what you're doing or what you're focused on, but we should get together. That's what I said to you, right? And you probably thought, who's this random guy sending me a message? Don't even know this guy probably well. He's mutual friends of these guys. I guess he might be okay, but it's a bit weird. So brother, so when you come and you say, you know, that you have no passion right now, I love it. It's not that I love it because it's you, and you're being completely honest, and all of us can relate to it. And that's what I love about my passion is bringing people together in such a way that we see ourselves in each other. You know, we see ourselves in each other, and that's what I love.
And I think that's what it's all about. It's about authenticity.
Yeah.
You know, like be your fucking self. I mean, I've been probably almost all around the world, and we gave all these talks over the last few years, and I've been speaking at probably every co-working here on Bali, you know, like, and I've been like teaching and preaching and doing all that stuff and motivating people. And I could come up here and then give you one of my speeches, and I'm like, I'm passionate about helping you and getting all the fulfillment in your life and all that shit. Yes, it's true, but it's not right now.
Yeah.
And so if it's not, I'm not going to tell you.
Yeah.
So
thank you, my brother.
That's fair enough.
Yeah, no, thanks for honoring us with your honesty, for real, right? In the terms of honoring, there's a few things. So firstly, Tropical Nomad is 24 hours, right? So there's no kick out time. It's not like, listen guys, it's getting late. It's 24 hours here, right? So you can come any time of the day. I really want to thank Itchy and Bella. So this is Itchy, who's the owner, and Bella over here who works together. A round of applause, right? You know, like we had this collaboration, right? And I love him dearly because his heart is amazing. Her heart is amazing. So just want to thank you guys. And if you're interested in Tropical Nomad for any reason, feel free to reach out to Bella, Itchy, or through the Facebook, Instagram, and whatever else you have. And look, on that note, like I said, it's 24 hours. So if you feel, that wasn't planned about sharing your passion. It's just what came up for you in the moment. I go with it. But if you've heard or resonate with somebody here, feel free to approach them. Right now, I'm going to put you in it because I'm looking right at you. This beautiful woman here is one of the people who started Samadhi here in Bali, which is an amazing contribution that you've made to a lot of people, and you are a beautiful woman for doing that. So I'm kicking that one off. So if you feel connected to anybody tonight, just go and talk to them. Right? There's no kick out time, so hey, and everyone's sitting there. Doesn't like anyone wants to go home. God dang. So you may as well just meet someone else. And how you do it is you just go up and say, hey, I was really touched by what you said. Tell me more. That's all you have to do. And let them talk and listen. All right? So thank you so much for coming, guys. Please spread this. Please share this. Come next week. Got Illumide. We're going to have a lot of people who are here tonight are going to be speaking, or they're going to be sitting over here at some point in the near future. And so in advance, I love you guys. Thank you so much for coming. And yeah, it's just going from strength to strength. Thank you. Thank you, Rhonda. Thank you. If you want to get some food and drink, the guys here, coffee, whatever they've got. What have you got? What have you got? Anything you need, Bella says. Anything you need from here. From Noura at the cafe. Anything you need, go and have a chat to Noura. Noura's like,